so proud to live here, and thank you so much for coming tonight. Thanks again. So, when the time comes for voting, you guys know what to do. Okay, so our next speaker has a wonderful story. It's amazing. And he's going to talk about it. He's going to talk about his personal life. It's going to be a short story, but it's changed his life, and it's created a tremendous success for him just by living his passion. His name is Ben Canary, and he's the owner of HercuLean Meal Prep. So that's our next speaker.
Great to be here. One of the things that I'm really kind of most passionate about in my life is food. So I'm going to talk to you mostly about food. But first I'm going to talk about kind of like why I'm here and the journey that it took for me to get here. Because a few years ago, this would seem very alien for me to be right here in this moment. So basically, when I was growing up, I was in great shape, I did sports all through high school, and then I went to college and started, partying and eating pizza and learning how to cook, and I started learning how to cook French food and Italian food and all this, and before you knew it, I was like in my late 20s, and I really gained quite a bit of weight. And as a matter of fact, I was about 245 pounds at my heaviest, so almost 250. And what happened was I opened my eyes one day and I realized that I didn't recognize who I was. Couldn't place my finger on like when it happened, but one day my eyes were opened and I decided to make a change. So I came to my brother, who used to be a competitive bodybuilder. He was in a sport that's all about building muscle and losing fat. And I knew that when he would do his competitions, the biggest thing that he would do is a diet. He would diet for months at a time to lose all his fat, to keep all his muscle. So I came to him and I was like, what do I have to do to help me figure out what to eat? And he said, you can't have mustard, or I'm sorry, you can't have ketchup, but you can have mustard. And you've got to do chicken breasts and not chicken thighs and things. And I remember I asked him, I said, well, what about cilantro? And it was that's the idea, is you can have food that's really clean, it doesn't have high fructose corn syrup, and it doesn't have a whole lot of fat, it doesn't have a whole lot of salt, but you can still make it taste good. So I was actually in a track to get a PhD. I was at Ball State, and I dropped out of school, and I moved in with my brother, and I started just cooking all of the food that we ate, and we tried to get in the best shape of our lives. And what happened was it worked really, really quickly. And all of our friends started asking us, well, what are you doing? And I wasn't running 10 miles a day. I wasn't spending hours in the gym. All I was really doing was cooking food. And so what that turned into was I started cooking food for all of our friends. And then it was them started asking me to cook for them as well. My brother said, we need to either stop, because this is taking over my kitchen, or we need to maybe make a business out of this, because I can see demand. And that's what we did. We decided to actually, get the proper licensing and rent a kitchen and do what we needed to do to make this an actual business. And we went from cooking just in my brother's kitchen to, cooking for our friends. And our first month, we actually sold $10,000 worth of food with, no marketing whatsoever. And that was close to 3 years ago. And now we've got a store. It's on 82nd Street, so down by the Fashion Mall. And we've actually built a kitchen. It's a food production plant, actually. We're about to be USDA certified, which is really, really cool. We were just on Channel 8, I think. In the last year, we were on like 59, 13, 8, pretty much every local news station. And so the idea is it's a lot more important to pay attention to the food that you eat, and specifically by looking at the macronutrient ratios of the food that you eat. When I say macronutrients, those are protein, carbohydrates, and fat. Those are the 3 nutrients in food that actually contribute calories. So like calcium, things like that. Iron, those are the micronutrients. It doesn't matter how much calcium is in your food. It'll be the same number of calories, But you want to look at the relative percentages. You can make like a pie chart with the macronutrients, and you want to try and make it roughly a balance between protein and carbohydrates, and then a little bit lower fat. It's, in general, I mean, sometimes there's a new diet, it's called the keto diet, and that's way different. It's high fat, low carbs, kind of moderate protein. But when you start looking at the food that you eat, and especially over the course of a day or a week or even longer, and you start looking at that pie chart, what you find when you're eating at restaurants all the time, it's way out of whack. You're getting way too much fat and way too many carbohydrates. And I actually have a lot of feelings about why restaurants are like that. Restaurants are an extremely competitive industry. And I think taste and value are the 2 things that a restaurant has to convey. And to make things taste better, the easiest way is to add oil and to add a lot of salt. And so that's why you go to Chipotle and there's extra oil in the rice, but that messes up the pie chart. And then the other thing is you want to feel like you got a good deal at the restaurant, so you end up like gigantic portions. I go to some steakhouses and it's like the best meal ever, but afterward I feel really bad because the portions are so high. So portion control and really the balance between protein, carbohydrates, and fat, we feel are extremely important. That's what we do at my business. We actually cook food, and it's all pre-packaged and it's flash frozen. And people come and you buy like a week's worth of food. And by substituting some of your unhealthy meals with really ultra healthy balanced meals, it makes a tremendous difference over time. And yeah, that's pretty much what we do at HercuLean Meal Prep. Does anyone have any questions about food that are higher calorie? I'm actually on a higher calorie diet myself now because my goal originally was fat loss, and my new goal is building muscle. And you're absolutely right, you need higher calorie meals and probably more carbohydrates. We have some supplements like MCT oil that you can add on to the meals. Our meals, they're designed to help you lose fat. In your case, you can still use them to help you get convenient, real food protein sources. But in 2019, I would definitely look for some of our larger meals. They're pretty awesome.
What is your...
Go out one night a week and buy a round for your friends, and it's like that was your whole week's of food right there, So you can kind of cut back on expenses like that as well. Brad, that's my roommate, Brad, and he's our photographer as well. We built the website together. I think we did a great job for what we can do. It's being redone right now. I've hired some fitness industry professionals to redo it to make it a little bit more user-friendly. But they're available you can pick them up in our store, which is open 7 days a week. Or we ship nationwide. We ship to California, New York, and Florida every week, and you can also have them delivered to your house. Yes.
Question: do you have a dietitian on board?
No, not on board. Our quality control guy in our kitchen, he's competed in I think 32 bodybuilding shows.
Okay.
Over about like 20 years. I just was at Ball State and I gave a talk to their dietetics club in a food science class, and I think we're going to bring somebody on, a graduate from an Indiana school, as a dietitian soon,
And
I think.
also, do you specify, or do you also work with vegans and vegetarians? Does he also do that?
That's one thing that is coming out
Okay.
in response to demand.
Yes.
We've had a lot of people ask us about it. We have one meal that has jackfruit in it,
Okay.
but I'm planning on making a lot more of them.
It's just the balance with the protein and
It can be tough.
There's
It can be
exactly.
tough. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's building our kitchen, and now that it's built, I think I can spend more time in recipe development.
Learn. Now, Ben has a special gift for one of you guys. The basket is amazing. I'm going to tell you later on what's in it, but he's also given to one person 7 free meals. Besides that, there is something from him in the gift bag, so stay till the end. If you absolutely have to leave, please feel free to get one of the bags. So